You know, strong bones are a big part of aging well, but are you baffled by all the hype? I mean, what can you really do beyond just taking drugs? My guest and I have some solid answers for you today based on the hundreds and maybe actually thousands of women that we have guided towards stronger bones and better balance and greater confidence. By the end of today's episode, you'll have clarity on what role exercise, sleep, nutrition, and stress management play in keeping you on your feet and independent well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. So, welcome to the Midlife Reset Podcast. This is episode number 55. I'm your host, Cheryl Gordon. I'm a yoga therapist and a mindfulness coach and creator of the She Mindfulness program, a structured, supported online community that provides a step by step method for creating better sleep and strength and energy. Now, today's conversation feels very personal. Two of my best friends are dealing with osteoporosis diagnoses right now. They're barely 60. And every yoga class I teach, at least one woman will approach me with shame and fear on her face, and she'll whisper, I'm not sure if it's safe for me to be here. My doctor says bending and twisting could fracture my spine. And I got to tell you, girlfriend, it breaks my heart when I see that shame and fear on their faces. And that's why I am thrilled to welcome my guest, Candy Price, a personal trainer and mind body teacher with a clinical healthcare background. For nearly 30 years, she worked with cancer patients and saw how strong routines and healthy habits help people face challenges with greater resilience and confidence. For the past 4 years, she has worked even more closely with older adults who want to feel stronger and steadier and more confident in their bodies. She's a certified personal trainer. She's a yoga teacher, a Pilates instructor, and her online community features a beautiful app that includes classes and education, nutritional advice, and more. Together, we are going to do what we can to alleviate that shame and fear that comes with the diagnosis of osteoporosis. Say that 5 times fast. And we also want to offer practical tips for improving bone strength for all women. And all women need to be aware of bone health. Candy, I'm sure you've seen this statistic too. Around 70% of women don't even know they have an issue until there's a fracture, right?
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So true.
So,
Thank you, Cheryl, for having me today. I'm so excited to be on here with you, talking to a
and you're
fellow yoga teacher about bones and strength and empowering women. Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
we're really about. That I'm sure you've seen it on your clients' faces too, that deer in the headlights look, that shame, that fear, like they've done something bad and they're just
Oh, yeah.
terrified to move, right?
Yes, absolutely. I would say at least one lady per class comes up to me and says, I just had my DEXA scan and my results were, and they tell me the story. And yeah, and so many of them have been working towards it, have been strength training. But yeah, it's a scary thing, but it doesn't have to be. You can always improve and always get better with your bone health, with your lifestyle habits.
And that's what we want to talk about today is what can you do starting right now? So what's the number one thing, Candy, that you encourage your clients and your community to look at when they want to improve bone health?
So I would say the number one thing is strength training.
Okay,
Um,
let's talk about
and
what
I
that
would
looks
say,
like.
yeah, I would say start safely, start where you are. Find yourself a good coach that you trust, who's put in the work, learning about bone health, learning about the needs, learning about what works for bones and what is, not safe to practice. And start where you are in your body with those small little steps. Maybe with body weight to begin with, not necessarily loading up a lot of heavy weight because we want to learn form, we want to move safely for our bodies.
And that
So
is
yeah,
key. So let's unpack that and look at what that really means. We want to start where we're at. We don't want to run into the gym and try to do what everybody else is doing in the gym. So
right.
if we're starting with body weight, what are the like a couple key movements that we can look at doing?
So I always start with lower body because that is where the strength is. That's where we'll maintain more strength as we get older. So your
The
basic
mover
squats,
muscles, right? The
yeah,
mover
those
muscles.
moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your basic squats, your basic deadlifts
Hmm.
with body weight only in the beginning. Yep.
In the beginning. And form is so important because I know as yoga teachers, but I don't think we talk about it enough, Candy. It's not about just getting so many reps done. It's not about
No,
being sedentary all day and then doing a half-hour workout and we're done. It's about retraining the brain and the neuromuscular programming. And if you're not really thinking about your form, you're just reinforcing bad habits.
absolutely. Yes. It's about the format starting off maybe in a more shallow squatting position till you get the feel for it. It's pulling in that body awareness to visualize what you're trying to make your body do, what you're supporting your body to do. And it's just those small little cues, those ways of putting the weight in, like into the heels, sitting the seat back, trying to keep the chest lifted and proud. Those
Yeah.
little things. And here's the thing, you won't, if you've not done a lot of strength training, a lot of movements like this, it's going to feel so weird at first. It's going to take a little time, and it's expected to. It's practicing that over and over and getting better at it to where it becomes more natural in your body. So, giving
Now,
yourself plenty of grace.
let's double back to plenty of grace. Don't let me forget that point because I really want to talk about that again. But getting back to how women normally think about exercise, I come from a generation, a lot of women my age, we were the dancer size, the dance fit crowd. We did aqua
Right.
aerobics. Aerobics was queen because we thought we were going to get skinny. And we didn't want to lift weights or think too much about body weight exercises because, first of all, they felt boring. There wasn't a lot of like bright lights and bouncy bodies. And then we
Right.
didn't want to get big, bulky bodies. Have you run across that in your community as well?
Oh, sure, sure, absolutely. So, I was raised the same time frame. Cardio was king. We believed the more we sweated, the more we just killed ourselves by moving, jumping, sprinting, the better we could make our bodies look. We would be happier with the number on the scale. And that is cardio is good for us for our heart, of course, for our body, but it is not the king. The king is strength training. And as women, we are not built to get big, bulky, huge with strength training. We just don't have the hormone makeup for that. So it's very safe for us to get strong instead of skinny in a safe way at any age. And you're
I like
never
that.
too young
Strong,
to start.
strong instead of skinny. Strong instead of skinny. I love that. We should get a
Right.
t-shirt with that on. So
Yes,
I just wanted to address the fact too that sometimes strength training can look boring. Like you were saying, you might have to practice like baby chair pose, if we use yoga terminology, for a week with a coach,
right.
getting your form right before you start loading anything up. So it can look boring, but there's a real reason for that. And it's actually where you're making authentic gains, not just flashy,
That's
sexy
true.
gains.
Right. That's true. That's true. And you build your base with it, you learn your basic moves. And then, I don't know, the thing with strength training with me is I feel very strong and empowered after it. So
Yeah.
it might not be quite so flashy as you're doing it, but to me, like there's nothing more empowering than women doing chest presses. And feeling those weights pushing away from your body, that you're pressing that away and pulling it back in, and you're keeping control of those weights and that movement. To me, the hit of endorphins can come a little later after the practice, but they do come. And
Yeah.
you feel that sense of I'm strong, and I can control my muscles, and you can, you feel like you are capable. You feel like you have that strength when you need it. Because,
Which is
all this
kind of
is practice for real life.
And it's kind of the opposite of that frail, worried face that we've been talking about
Absolutely.
showing up to yoga class, feeling empowered, feeling strong, feeling capable. So strength training definitely for me, for sure, brings that. Now, what are some of the things that you would stay away from when you were doing straight strength training if you did have a diagnosis of osteopenia or osteoporosis?
So the main things you want to avoid is the spinal flexion, so the deep forward folds. The other thing you want to avoid is the deep twist. So I don't do anything where I am extending weight away from the body in a twist, like a loaded twist.
I
We
think they call
avoid
those
that.
Russian twists. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
none
they're
of
just
those.
they're just bad for the SI joints too. So I never teach Russian twists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And those are the main two.
Right.
Or no quick jerky movements either. That
Right.
kind of goes along with the twist.
Yeah.
And we build a very solid base before we progress. We
Right.
progress
And that's
slowly.
working with a coach, that's really where you get the benefit. And I also want to talk about, we were going to circle back to about giving ourselves grace, because a huge component of osteoporosis and avoiding osteoporosis even is the stress management. And I think for us women, so much of the stress that we experience has to do with how we talk to ourselves and how we think about our lives. So, can you talk a little bit about how you encourage your clients to give themselves grace?
Oh, sure. So, I tell everybody, be your number one cheerleader. Like, think about that story that is spinning in your head all day long and make it a positive one. Because, you are your number one cheerleader. And some people, use affirmations. I am capable. I am powerful. That works for a lot of people. Just repeating that. The minute you hear that you're getting in that negative loop, beating yourself up, try to reverse it and make it more of a positive. I see the same thing when I'm working with people with balance, and you probably do in yoga as well. Um, you start to try to focus on coming into your body, setting your gaze, finding your balance. And then you'll hear that thing in your head say, I'm going to fall or I'm not balanced. And that's like the worst thing. Like I always say, stay positive with that. Tell yourself you're stable. Tell your foot it's planted. And those little things really, really do help.
Yes, and looking at your stress levels overall, have you addressed this in your program as well, Candy, about how stress in the body affects the diagnosis of osteoporosis?
Yes, absolutely. In my program, we have strength work, mobility, balance work, your typical physical things you would work on with osteoporosis. But then I have a full section of meditation, breath work, yoga nidra, those kind of things to support the whole body. Because I think oftentimes we focus either on the physical body, the emotional body, but it's all connected, you know.
You can't
Yeah.
separate it
Yeah.
out.
You
You really
cannot
can.
separate it.
And if your program, if your protocol that you're going to use to deal with this only deals with physical, and that's what happens when you go to a doctor sometimes and they just give you
Yep.
the prescription medication, which thank goodness we have prescriptions when we need them. But if that's the only thing that you're being offered, there's a huge component missing. Or if the only thing is to strength train, you're still missing all these other components. I always tell people, first of all, if you're frazzled and stressed, you're more likely to fall and have
Right.
an accident. And that's where the real trouble comes in. That's where the real
Hmm.
impacts of osteoporosis are felt. And also, the diagnosis itself is shocking, and you have that
Hmm.
feeling of shame. You have that feeling of fear and fragility. In fact, they use that word at you when you're at the
Right.
doctor's, fragility
Yeah.
fracture, and you just
Yep.
feel less empowered. So, yoga and the types of stress management tools you were discussing, like breath work, can really help you feel centered and confident in your body again, give you a sense of agency, and give you the motivation to get out there and do something proactive. Now, your program, Candy, also includes nutrition. Everybody thinks you just take a calcium supplement and you're good. Could you give us some more about that?
Yeah. So my nutrition program is I try to keep it simple. because I know that it can, you start talking to people about their diet and nutrition, it can get really confusing and
And
it can get
emotional.
overwhelming. Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Because we've been eating our way we've been eating for a long time, most of us. So I just give basic guidelines and I give basic recipes that I make. And here's the thing with me, if it has more than about 5 ingredients, it's too much for me. So it's very simple, approachable. I make a lot of little video tutorials with me cooking in my kitchen. I try to make it fun. But protein's important, fiber's important. I think fiber is the thing that's kind of missed right now. I think that is really important, our gut health. Feeding our gut and making sure, we went through the fad with the low sugar and no carbs, which, and that cut out so many fruits and veggies for people and so much good fiber for people.
Yeah.
But I won't get started down. I can talk about fiber for hours. I won't get down that rabbit hole. But yeah, protein, fiber, healthy fats, eat the rainbow, lots of variety,
Yeah.
hydration, all of it is intertwined. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about dieting and how that affects the bones, because I want to talk about nutrition just a little bit here. So
Hmm.
I have a friend, for example, we all hit the menopause years at the same time. We were all carrying too much weight, and she went on to a very calorie restricted diet. And over a year and a half, she did lose the pounds. But you know what else
Hmm.
she lost?
Bones and muscles. Yeah.
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 Do
I
you hear
would
this
say
story
most
too?
of us are not eating enough food, enough quality food. Um,
Quality food.
my guidelines with my ladies, and this is based on the Osteoporosis Foundation, is on average 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Be sure you're eating protein at your breakfast because that's
Yeah.
really important to start getting that protein in the body early. And most ladies that I first start working with, they're barely eating. Like they're
Yeah.
so afraid of gaining weight. And actually, once they start eating, is when the shift happens because they
Yeah.
need to
Because
fuel their body.
starvation aggravates stress. And so many of
Yeah.
us miss that. We think we need iron willpower. So I'm glad we talked about that. Protein at breakfast is so important. So a bowl of cereal is not going to cut it, my friend.
Oh no, no, no.
And
Yeah.
let's talk fiber. I love talking fiber, and I really would love to explore the connection between gut health. So many of my friends have to go gluten free, can't tolerate beans anymore, can't have salad for supper.
Hmm.
And I look at that and I see it from a perspective of gut microbiome. Can you talk about that a bit, Candy?
I can a little bit. And I'll just have to come out with it. I believe a lot of our issues with gluten and all is our quality of breads in the grocery store.
Yeah, yeah,
I have totally cut, like, I am a big proponent against processed foods. And we get processed foods in ways we don't even realize they're processed foods. I don't know about you're in Canada. I'm not sure about
we're
you in Canada, but here in America, our processed or breads are just getting horrible. They'll have 7 or 8 additives in every loaf of bread. And I feel like every day they're adding even more. I have a little app that I check at the grocery store before I purchase anything, and it'll show me if there's a lot of additives and if they're dangerous. But yeah,
so
so first off is I cut out all those breads and things at the grocery store. I love to make, like I make these waffles, my protein fiber waffles with
that
oats.
sounds good. I'm
They
hungry.
are so delicious. Yes. And it's a great option for people that don't want to eat a lot of animal protein, but they can still get protein, through something like high protein waffles, pancakes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, fermented foods good, yogurts, because then you're getting your protein, you're getting your calcium. You throw some raspberries on that, you get your fiber, your hemp seeds, your chia. Like you can get in all those things that you need just by breakfast alone, and it's like a power breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of, actually sometimes I'll have that for a snack even. But yeah, so fiber, protein, and you mentioned healthy fats too. Because you remember the 90s we were all allergic to fat, all through the
That's true.
2000s
Yes,
even.
that's
Yeah,
right. We've been through it all, haven't we? We cut out all the
stuff I've
fat,
done.
just added the sugar, and then we went the other way.
Oh, and you know what? It had permanent effects on my body, you know?
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
silly, crazy things we go through.
Hmm.
So good fats, why is that important for bone health?
Oh, so yes, very important for bone health. So your olive oils, extra virgin olive oils, avocado, because you need the healthy fats to help with the structure of the bones, the mobility, the joints, your brain.
Runs on
Yeah,
fat.
yeah, yeah.
Runs on fat.
Walnuts, nuts, all those are wonderful sources.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that and your program does include a nutrition component so people can see you cooking and get all this advice in more detail. Candy, thank you so much. I know we've just skimmed over so much of what you have to offer for women, but thank you so much for sharing what we had time to talk about today.
Yes, thank
I
you.
will be including Candy's website in the show notes. So if anybody wants to click there, she offers a 7-day free membership in her community. So you can get in there, you can look at the resources, see the quality of the support available, and then work on those healthy bones. And don't wait until you have a diagnosis. Because, like I said,
Absolutely.
70% of women don't even know until we end up with a fracture. And as always, I'll be including a link to my free resources if you're interested in a mindfulness approach to things like weight loss and sleeping better. We didn't get a chance to talk about sleep, but it's key for all of these health conditions and building
Yeah.
your energy in general. Thank you, Candy, so much for coming in from North Carolina today.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Namaste.
Namaste.